The holy roller fumble needs to be revised. Simple as this. You can't call a ball dead if a fumble goes backwards. I think that call against the Browns was bogus when Baker Mayfield fumbled the ball. And with instant replay, you can clearly see the ball went backwards and Kareem Hunt recovered the ball, but yet he's not allowed to progress with the ball once he recovers it. And instead they call it dead instantly at the time of possession where the ball was recovered at. To me, that's where you can't place the ball like that. To me, it's a fair game. It's a live call, no matter what. The holy roller call needs to be revised for two instances. That, and as well as if the fumble was caused by a defensive player, and when the defensive player caused that fumble, the ball went forward intentionally. It should be a free ball. Anyone should be able to recover it. Just like in a live game, when you see a receiver run a route and a defensive player comes out of nowhere, punches the ball, it goes forward, and another offensive player recovers that ball and goes for a touchdown. Travis Kelce did that. I forgot which game. I think it was the Saints where that happened, and he recovered a football and went all the way in for a touchdown, but obviously they called it back because the player was down. I think it was Le'Veon Bell. He was down before the ball was fumbled. So in instances like that, that's where I feel like, the rule's not fair. Like, it's like as if they just call it whenever they want. And let me bring this back to you guys in case if you still disagree with me. All right? If Kareem Hunt cannot progress forward with the ball once he recovered a backwards fumble from Baker Mayfield, then tell me, why was Andrew Luck able to do the same thing in a wild card game against the Chiefs when he handed the ball off to Donald Brown? Donald Brown got hit, fumbled the ball at the 1 yard line. The ball, in a very similar sequence to what happened with the Baker Mayfield fumble play, the ball fumbled, hit the ground, rolled backwards clearly. Luck picked it up, ran with it forward, got into the end zone, scored a touchdown. Yet that play stood, but yet Kareem Hunt was denied of progressing with the football. It doesn't make any sense. Look, guys, if a ball goes backwards, it shouldn't matter how, okay? If it goes backwards, it should be a live ball and anyone should be allowed to recover it. Or if a fumble is caused by a defensive player and you can clearly see that and nobody touches the ball and forces the ball to go forward other than the defensive player, the ball should also be considered live. You can go to the Justin Herbert fumble in the Thursday night Raiders-Chargers game when clearly, I think it was Jonathan Abram, I could be wrong, but a Raiders player, as Justin Herbert leaves to try to get the ball to cross the end zone, the ball was knocked out, rolled forward until Austin Eckler and a Chargers offensive lineman jumped on it and recovered the ball in the end zone. Should have stood for a touchdown, but again, they called it dead because only Justin Herbert, who was the fumbler, was allowed to recover the football, which, like I said, it's unfair. It's unfair for the offense. To me, like I said, it's a live game. It happened naturally. The rule was installed to prevent anyone from cheating or purposely trying to fumble the ball back forward, like how the Raiders admitted that they did via Ken Stabler when they did the holy roller game against the Chargers. So in that instance, I get it. Prevent that from being unfair to the defense and, intentionally trying to cheat. I get it. But like in those two instances that I brought up for you guys, the rule is unfair, and I think it needs to be revised. And to make the refs' job easier, with instant replay, if there's inconclusive data to where they can't see, for example, if a ball does go forward, but they don't know if it was an offensive player that kicked it or some reason, or if it was a defensive player, if you can't tell, simply just have a default call for them to call and just rule the ball dead at the spot where it was kicked. Simple as that. Like I said, if it was fumbled, all right, you can't tell. It's in a mush, it's in a pit, and somehow the ball goes forward. Wherever the ball was at before it was kicked, that's where you could just call the ball dead, and that's where it's going to be placed at. It's not that difficult, guys. Some people can't understand that. So keep that in mind. There are two instances where this rule unfairly prohibits the offense from being able to do anything. And to me, it's a restriction that just doesn't make sense. All right? A backwards fumble is no different than a backwards lateral pass. Hell, we see it all the time. When it's the last play, let's say 5 seconds left in the game, the offense has the ball on the 20-yard, on their own 20-yard line, and the quarterback does a 10-yard pass, and then all the receivers, tight ends, running backs, O-line, you know what I mean, all the offensive players start doing backward passes. Not all of them are going to connect. You're going to see one where they toss it 2 yards, it goes backwards, but it's rolling like a fumble, and another player recovers it, and it's still considered a live ball. That same type of, what's the word I'm looking for? Well, anyways, if that counts, so should what Baker Mayfield did in that Browns and Jets game. That's all I'm trying to press, man. To me, it's a natural way, and you know what? It's not fair. It's not fair to not call that a live ball. That's just what I think. And like I said, once the play concludes, you can always call a rule. If you're not too sure, if the refs don't know, and they're communicating with each other, and they don't know if the ball was, fumbled backwards or forward, they could just rule it dead initially, but then they got to also automatically review it, even if it wasn't considered a turnover or recovered by the defensive player. If it's a fumble, that's where the NFL also got to install in the final 2 minutes, since coaches can't challenge it. If there's any sense of fumble, and you know that it was recovered, there should be an instant replay review to see what happened, so that way they could go and see that Baker Mayfield fumble play, realize that the ball did fumble backwards, then they have the power to change that, give the refs that ability, and guess what? The game will be much more fair. So this is kind of like a message to the NFL, and I think if anybody who's a fan doesn't agree with this, then obviously just wait until it happens to your favorite team, and then go ahead and cry about it. But obviously, I'm trying to prevent that from happening, so. But either way, it doesn't matter. You still can't debate that it's not fair. That's all I gotta say. This is your boy Drew Blue signing out. Y'all stay safe and stay blessed. But like I said, if a ball goes backwards, doesn't matter if it's a lateral pass, doesn't matter if it's a backwards fumble, it's going backwards. Should be a live ball no matter what. If you can do it on a final play of a game when offensive players are scrambling around, why not? That's all I gotta say. Deuces.